All right, enough of that. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Still World podcast. I wish I had that in the soundboard.
Oh, we need that one too, yeah.
Or like an air horn, yeah. I am, as I've dubbed myself in the past two of these, I am your vocal host, Scott Kelly. On the podcast today, we have Jake and we have Jensen joining us yet again. What's up, boys? How you feeling?
What's good? Feeling good.
I'm feeling great. How you doing, man?
Good. Nice to have a third person on here again. Dan couldn't join us, so hopefully we'll have him on here soon. But
Yeah. Nice to be on here finally. Life settled down and allowed me to get a second to just come join and just have a nice chat with the boys.
we love it. Yeah, how's everyone's week been? It's Friday. It's Halloween weekend. What's everyone getting up to this weekend?
I'm going to Jensen's tomorrow. We're going to film some drum content.
We love it.
Yeah, very excited. So if you're watching this, maybe it's out, maybe it's not. We'll see.
Hell yeah.
But it's going to be sick.
Depends on how well tomorrow goes.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Very cool. I might buy tickets for like a Halloween bar crawl tomorrow.
Nice.
We'll see.
Where's it at?
Yeah, it's up in Boulder. I don't have a costume yet though, so trying to figure out like what I could throw together.
B. Roy Kent. I was Ted Lasso last weekend.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
solid. Go to Spirit Halloween. They have, I think they have Roy Kent jerseys there.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, Spirit Halloween. That's where I got my Ted Lasso costume. Came with the mustache and everything. But I
Nice.
didn't wear it. It didn't fit right.
Wouldn't you love to be the CEO of Spirit Halloween?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
No?
Jensen wants to.
I do. I mean, think how much money they make every Halloween, you know? Like,
It's only seasonal though.
Well,
it's
they
only
do.
seasonal, but they're everywhere for that entire month span.
They are, yeah.
And it's
I've,
consistent.
Yeah.
I won't reveal anyone's names that I've heard this from, but I've heard from people that they don't hire the best employees. There was an instance I heard of where someone was doing hard drugs in the break room. On
Nice.
Spirit Halloween. So
Where do I sign up? I'm gonna sign up.
I'm like both
Here's my resume.
disappointed but not surprised.
Yeah, right.
we'll,
I hope they were at least wearing a skeleton costume where they were doing it, you know?
we can only
Just like
hope.
for the aesthetic.
Worst, it's the inflatable T-Rex costume where it's just like
We can only hope.
right. Just go as that, Scott. Just be the T-Rex.
It's a good one. I had the inflatable ostrich one year where it looked like I was riding an ostrich and I had really short legs.
Did you?
Yes.
Dang.
That was a good one. But yeah, Halloween weekend. Hope everyone. It'll be after Halloween by the time you're watching this. So hope everyone had a good Halloween.
Thanks.
But
Good and safe Halloween.
absolutely. But yeah, outside of that, we thought it would be interesting today to have a little bit more of an agenda, but we'll keep it pretty cash. We're gonna talk about the beginnings of Still World. How the band came to be. And
We
just-
love an origin story.
yeah, an origin story of sorts. And just give everyone some context as to how we got here, who we are as individuals perhaps, and all that stuff. So Jake, you wanna start off?
Yeah. How did I stumble upon this project?
Well, so
let's start
let
with
me-
you and Dan. You should
Yeah,
start.
I'll get
Yeah,
you
we
to
can start with Scott.
I'll get you to a point.
Okay.
And I guess we can provide some personal context if if you feel it's relevant too. So, prior to, just my volume. Sorry. Prior to Still World, I played in a number of bands over the years, but I was in a I was in a hardcore band for a couple of years called 3 Years. Oh, la la la. Couple of years, 3 years, la la.
Funny.
And yeah, that was super fun. Like I was a lot of my like really good friends were in that band, so we had a blast. But we just got to a point where everyone who was involved still wanted to play music, but everyone sort of wanted to play different music after a point in time. Like I wanted the project to kind of remain a straight up like hardcore project, because I was just having a ton of fun playing hardcore music. But other people in the band wanted to go a bit more experimental with the sound, and yeah, like long story short, it just led to the band breaking up. Still in good terms with everybody, still talk to all those dudes. So no bad blood, just different. It just turned into people with different musical interests. And on I think, but on top of that too, I think I wanted to start tackling my music in a very serious and quote unquote professional manner. And that vision, the vision that I had in terms of the way to go about that wasn't necessarily shared. And I think that that side of things is something that sort of led to Still World coming to be, because I was in college for music business at that point in time, and I had known Dan for probably 2 or 3 years pretty loosely at this point, because we had played shows together, but we were in different bands, and we sort of just like knew who the other person was and would chit chat when we were at the same show, but we didn't like write music together yet. We didn't hang out
We all three of us played like the same show.
yeah, in three
Remember
different
that? Yeah.
bands.
You were in
Yeah.
3 years. Dan was in Shoot the Messenger. I was in Ugly Sweater Party, and
Yeah.
we played that basement show, the last show of Shoot the Messenger. I
Oh,
remember
that's
it was a
right.
good show. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Jake, you were in that circle too. So it's just a small world, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like I was starting to write music by myself again, and I've always played the guitar. But to be quite honest, I was starting to write music, but the music I wanted to write, I wasn't good enough on guitar to write it, to be quite honest. I've always sort of been more of like a rhythm guitarist, and the music that I wanted to be involved with was more technical and involved a level of playing lead guitar and playing riffs that I just didn't have. So I remember I hit up Dan and asked if he would be interested in working on some stuff, because I knew he was free and we were both living in Chicago at the time. So yeah, I sent him an idea one day, and like 3 hours later, he had turned my little riff idea into a full song.
Typical Dan. That's what he does. He just cranks out songs.
As his roommate, when my part of the story comes into play, I can and will attest the man's turnaround time is stupendous.
Yeah. So after that, I was like, oh shit, okay, like yeah, gotta do something with this dude. So yeah, we got to know each other better, and he came over a few times, and we worked on some stuff, and we pretty quickly got to a point where we realized, okay, so there's some solid ideas here. We need to build out the project more, to be quite simply, right? So I think the first person, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first person we then went to was you, Jensen, because like you just said, you and Dan were roommates. And I remember he was talking about like, yeah, my roommate is actually a really sick drummer, so let me talk to him. And we met up.
Which is so nice of him to say, because he had never seen me drum in person at that point, because I didn't have a kit. I drummed on his electric kit in his room, in front of him. So the fact that he was sticking his neck out for me and being like, yeah, he's a sick drummer, that means a lot.
Nice. But I remember then the first time that I met you was in one of the practice rooms at Columbia College. and we kind of just jammed through the song idea that Dan and I had written at that point in time.
Oh, you guys did? I didn't know that.
We didn't like jam. Scott was in the vocal booth, and Dan and I were just like sitting at the controls, just like in my opinion, it felt like more of a chemistry session. Like, hey, we're
Nice.
gonna run through like how Scott feels on this song and see how like we all feel like together as like just members in a band, because chemistry is like always obviously very important in a band.
Of course.
And like I came out of that room being like, I want to be in a band with these guys. Like, I had so much fun just like musicking out, broing out, just like doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I
That's
came
sick.
in, I guess.
I'm glad you guys did. That's cool.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so from there, well, let me pause there because I'll just fucking keep talking and we'll the whole thing will have been explained in 20 minutes and this won't really be a podcast. So Jensen, what, like, since we've mentioned you thus far, what brought you to that point in time? And before we continue.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it really seemed like, if not all four of us, at least you, Scott, me, and Dan had all kind of gone through like a collective band breakup at around the same time. Like, Dan's band broke up, your band broke up, my band broke up. I just so happened to be rooming with Dan, and I was like, anything you're doing music wise, I'm not done. Like, if you need a drummer, I'm there. Like, I want to help you out. And so he skated by the idea of like, hey, come sit in with the session. It's gonna be with Scott. We're gonna run through this new idea that he sent me. And so that I was like, yeah, definitely, because I didn't have any other prospects for bands, and he was the only other person that I knew that was like really. He was the only person that I knew that was interested in the music that I listened to, two, passionate about it in the same way that I was, and wanting to pursue a career of it. And three, I really got along with him, and so I was like, follow the friendship, follow the music, and the rest will follow.
Question: was that song you guys were jamming, like, did that become a Still World song?
Yeah,
It did.
I was actually just
it-
about to say that song turned into Place of Regret from our first EP.
Oh, no way. Sick.
Yeah. So the
Hell
part
That's why I
that
want to bring it back to the set list, because it's like it's the origin story,
yeah, technically is the first Still World song, but
Nice.
I wrote like the intro riff.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
and then
dun.
Dan
Okay.
took that and ran with it. So
Nice. That's sick.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, but yeah, Jensen and Jake, you can chime in here too, because I think it's relevant to you as well. But I think the point that you make is quite important, because for me, I think one of the things that was really important to me and was affirming of like the people that we were starting to work with is that all of us kind of felt as if we had had a pretty similar experience coming out of past projects. And I think the consensus was we were all in a place where we wanted to do something that we took very seriously. And we didn't really feel that that sentiment was shared from people we were working with previously.
I
so
was
I-
still. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that was something that was really important to me at the onset.
Yeah, at least for me, like when I joined this band, I was still in my previous band, so there was a bit of an overlap until the end of the fall of 2018. Then we left things, but still on good terms, still homies. But yeah, I mean, is there more in between, like when Jensen joined and I joined?
No, not really. So, I mean, I think we
my first interaction with you was when we recorded or tried to record drums for Dark Days in your living room.
Yeah, that was April 2018. Yeah, around there.
around then.
Yeah,
That
that's-
was, that was
first
another
time I met
moment where
you.
I felt it. I was like, I want this guy around more. I like
Yeah,
I
this
like
fucking guy.
this group.
I remember when you sat down the drums, we were setting up the mics and stuff in my living room in my parents' house, and you were sitting at the throne. I'm like, So you play drums? I was just making a joke. And you're like, nah, not really. And I'm like, he's gonna be a homie. I already know it. But yeah, I remember that day, like it we all clicked like right away, like the four of us in the same room for the first time.
Yeah.
And I remember halfway through the day, Scott, you're like, we need a bass. So we went to Guitar Center. You bought that bass you have, that
Yeah, I
Sterling
still
bass.
have it. It's on my wall. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you told the guitar tech guy there, like, hey, can you restring this with like really low strings? Like we play in drop G. He's like, yeah.
And he did a
And he
horrible job.
He did an awful job. Yeah, it wouldn't stay in tune for shit. But yeah, then we used that bass to track that EP, and we did the drums a few times. I mean, you killed it. It's just it's hard to get a solid drum sound, so we just used the MIDI.
And,
Yep.
well, we tried.
I've
Yeah.
never felt ashamed of that because we all tried our best.
Yeah, we tried our
That was
best.
that was the big thing. Is like if we can't have real drums, it's not because my performance isn't good enough. It's because we can't get the quality of the drum sound to match just how good our guitars and vocals can sound.
Right,
And we just
exactly.
don't want the out of place mixture. And so ever since then, I was like, "Yep, we'll do it how we got to do it," because I love the finished product.
Right.
That's what's kind of fun, since I don't get to like necessarily be the one recording the drums for it. I feel like I'm kind of an impartial listener to it, because it's like I get these tracks sent to us, and it's like, hell yeah, I didn't really have like too much of a hand in this, because like it's a MIDI drum bass track and stuff like that, and then we like extrapolate off of that afterwards. But it's fun to be like, oh shit, like my new favorite band's putting out some like banger tracks. Oh wait, no, that's me. Oh my god, wait, okay, I'm gonna be playing this. Fuck yeah.
You're like, I'm putting out banger tracks.
I'm putting out banger tracks. Fuck yeah. And then one
But-
day we're gonna get in the studio and it's all gonna be bangers.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I think, for context, the thing that brought us to that point was, so for a period of time, it was kind of Dan, Jensen, and I demoing stuff in my old apartment. And then I think once we had enough demos to like say, okay, let's actually try to record something, that's when Dan hit you up, Jake, because he didn't really have the setup to record, I think, was the issue at the time just yet.
Yeah.
You know, even though he was in school for audio, but you basically had like a whole bedroom studio at that time. And so I think, you know, he had hit you up to ask if you could help just record us. So I think that those days at the very beginning when we showed up and like started working with you, I don't think you were like technically in the band yet, right?
That first day, I think, like when we recorded Dark Days with the drums in my living room, I think that I wasn't originally in the band. Then I'm like, yo, can I join? And you're like, yeah. And we're all like, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was just that first day.
Yeah, it was like when we all walked in the door, he was not a member of the band, but within like a few hours or like days after that, he was a part of the band.
I'm pretty sure it was that day. I could be wrong, but
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Let's go with it. It makes for a
Pass
better
the vibe
story.
check.
it makes for a better story.
It makes for it makes for a better Wikipedia article.
I remember a month before March 2018, I was at a friend's party, and Dan was there because we're mutual friends with this person. And I'm like, "What's up, man? I haven't seen you in months. What have you been up to?" I probably haven't seen him since like that last summer in 2017, since Shoot the Messenger show we mentioned previously. And he's like, "Yeah, I started a project with my roommate and Scott Kelly." I'm like, "I don't think so. I'm just kidding. No, I knew you." Who the hell's Scott? Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, like we're looking to record somewhere. Like, would you be able to help out with that?" I'm like, "Fuck no." I'm just kidding. No, I'm like, "Yeah, dude, hell yeah, let's do it." So
I
I
have a
was
literal
stoked.
home studio.
Yeah, I was stoked because like I've always loved metalcore.
Mhm.
At the time, I was going through like a pop punk phase of my musicianship
Mhm.
because I was in pop punk bands since like middle of high school until like us.
Mhm.
In
And
this case, it was just a phase, Mom.
yeah, it was a phase. Metalcore is here to stay. That's what I first got into in middle school. That's how I learned guitar. That's how I got my fingers so quick. And yeah, so it always held a special place in my heart. So I'm like, hell yeah, dude, down to record some metal. Let's do it.
Nice.
So that's how me and Dan linked. And then he brought me into the circle.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and so then we pretty much I can't remember how long it took, but we worked on that first EP out of your
Yeah,
parents' house for a while, and
it was, we released it that October, the end of October. So from April to throughout the summer until September, I remember we had like the final project files all done. And then we recorded 2 music videos the same weekend, Dark Days and Pale Blue.
yeah, and so okay, so pause there for a sec
Sure.
because in those videos you're playing bass.
Yep.
Right. So I'm trying to remember, like, did we just do that because we wanted it to look as if we had a bassist?
Yep.
Or was there a period of time in which you were actually going to play bass?
I don't
No,
think
I
you were
was
ever
gonna play
bassist.
guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay,
Yeah.
so it was just because we wanted to have it look like we had a bassist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which we don't really need that anymore, which was fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind slapping the bass, it's fun.
In
I
Gotta
think
lay
that's
down the low end.
that's the only miss the target, jumping the gun that we've done as a band that I think wasn't 100% calculated. It's just like, well, we'll
Yeah,
get a
that's
bassist
all right.
eventually. We'll get a bassist eventually. We'll get a
Yeah.
bassist eventually. Fuck it, it's the computer. Surprise!
Our journey around like the bass in our band I think was pretty interesting because okay, so obviously we thought it was really important to have a bassist because we wanted it to look as if we had a bassist, which is why you stood in on bass in the videos, right?
Right.
And then shortly thereafter, by the way, no shade against bass players. Bass players are sick.
Oh yeah.
We just had a bit of a journey on that front.
I mean, if you're following the track record of like of all the members of the band and stuff like that, it's like, you got to fit the still world vibe, like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, hey, I've played bass before. I used to be in like a pop punk easycore band, and we had like a full lineup with like 2 guitars and a bass and drums and blah blah blah, and I was the vocalist. And after our bassist quit, I played bass and did vocals. So no hate on bassist. I've been a bassist in the band.
I
Nice.
asked for a 5-string bass for my birthday, and I
Nice.
got it, and I love playing it. I love playing bass. There's been a couple of times when I've been like, "Hey Dan, do we know anyone that can fill in on drums? I can just like chill out and play bass for this show."
Yeah, Easy Drummer 2 can fill in.
Yeah, there we go. Oh my god, we don't have to load drums in or
Yeah.
out. Oh my god, just for like an April Fool's show, we should do that.
Sorry, I'm yawning. But yeah, so then after the fact, we decided, okay, we should actually look for a bassist. And I can't remember how we found him, but we found Tom.
He I think it was on Twitter you were talking to him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think
Yeah.
it was, yeah.
So yeah, we found Tom, who was Tom's a good dude. Cool,
Love
cool
Tom.
guy.
Yeah, great guy. We'd love to.
Love Tom.
And yeah, he showed up and he tried out, and he showed up with good gear and he could rip, and we were stoked. So Tom
Yeah.
joined the band.
Then he got that
and-
5-string bass.
Yeah,
That sick like matte black 5-string because it matched my my matte black guitar. Dude, it was sick because we stood on the same side of the stage. We could smell each other. Yeah.
and yeah, so Tom joined and we played our first show, and then shortly thereafter we recorded our first follow-up single, which was Hollow. and we did a video for that, and Tom's in that video. So for anyone who doesn't know, you can go watch that video and you'll see Tom play bass.
Tom sighting.
But yeah, then shortly thereafter, like Tom just had other stuff going on, and so he left the band. Again, no like ill will or anything.
All love.
Yeah, just
Tom's a homie. He was at our show a couple
Yeah, he
months
was at our
ago.
last show,
So
yeah.
stoked to see him. I'm like, dude, holy
Sick.
shit. So good to see him.
so yeah. So he left, and I think at that point we were sort of just like, yo, fuck, I don't want to look for people again. So we just decided at that point in time, let's just try working with a MIDI bass. And we weren't writing new music again yet. Maybe we had rough ideas going, but
Oh,
we were,
you know what? I'll tell you. So when we were writing Dark Matter, that's when we were still using like the bass you have.
Oh,
Or maybe
really?
Dan was using his. And then during lockdown, the first lockdown, I was just on my computer, like looking around for stuff, and I
But-
stumbled upon Loki bass by
but we
Solemn
had
Tones.
but we had moved to some kind of a digital bass before that because we were still playing shows. Like we played shows.
I don't think so. I think we used like the actual tracks, like bass tracks.
Just play
Oh.
the backtrack.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because like the audio. Like
I see.
the
what you're
last
saying.
show we played without Tom was at the Wire 2020, right before lockdown.
Right.
Because at that time we didn't play a show since
Yeah, yeah.
like May 2019.
Okay,
so
so it
that
was,
show we had like raw bass
Gotcha.
kind of thing.
Gotcha. So then, to your point, we made a decision just to to try a virtual bass,
Yeah,
and complete transparency, that's what we still do to this day. Because
no shame.
no, I don't. No shame. Because I think there's a couple of reasons for that. So the first reason is it sounded good. We found a product that we really liked, and it sounded good. And none of us are true bassists at heart. And to be quite frank, I think the quality of the performance we can get from a high quality digital instrument is arguably better than what any of us could deliver on a physical instrument.
Yeah,
I think that's fair to say.
that's definitely fair to say.
Absolutely.
So it sounded good. It was super easy. It meant in the short term that we didn't have to go look for a new person to join the band. And on that point, I think the other thing that has always to some degree been important to me, and then it's sort of just like helped lead into the decision to just run with a digital bass, is I think there's definitely something to be said for having less people involved in the project from the perspective of managing your project and making decisions. If you're taking your band very, very seriously, that there's not that there's anything wrong with having like more people in your band. I think that we have found what works for us in terms of different people within our band have very defined roles in terms of like who owns which aspect of things, right? And just keeping our group at 4 people where we already had these pre-established relationships and roles within the band, I think that just made more sense for us.
Yeah, I completely agree. And
It's hard
there's
to
actually
fix what isn't broke.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually one more advantage to the Loki bass, the MIDI bass.
What's that?
It's a very minor thing, but it makes a big difference. It's because we play in such a low tuning. If we had like your 4-string or 5-string bass, dude, it would be tough to keep that thing in tune. So that Loki bass is just right on the money, and it sounds huge. So that's just one thing we don't have to worry about. And also, it's like it has like proper like low bass tone, like it sounds good
Yeah.
down there. So that makes a big difference. It doesn't muddy up our mixes. it's not out of tune. It's just straight on the money every
Right.
time.
Plus,
And it always shows up to practice.
plus in that regard too, and bass from an economic standpoint, bass gear in particular is so fucking expensive.
Oh, yeah.
To get like
yeah.
really good bass gear, like if we wanted to have a bassist, and if they didn't have like already come to the group with top quality gear, and we had to look at like buying a cab and buying pedals and like all the shit, like I know guitar gear gets really fucking expensive, but bass gear in particular is fucking crazy expensive.
The best value for guitars, like guitar amps, Kempers.
Digital
Fucking
guitar
Kempers.
amps.
Digital guitar amps. Dude, I sold all of my pedals. The last show we played before COVID, I had a 412 orange cab, which I still have. I didn't sell it. I had a $2,000 orange Rocker Verb 50 watt head,
Yeah.
the Mark III, solid amp. I had a bunch of pedals. I had a pedal train, pedal board, power supply, all this shit. I sold it all, made a profit. Well, not made a profit. I mean, like I still had enough money to buy the Kemper and still have some.
Hell yeah.
So I had all the pedals I needed and amps. I had the orange amp in my collection and on my Kemper, but I mostly use Mesa. But I have every option I need, and it's clean. It's wonderful. Hi, Macy. Oh, I can't wait to see Macy tomorrow. She's so sweet.
She's so excited.
She's so sweet.
But yeah, no, that's interesting because I know that that's like a hotly debated thing in the guitar community,
Right.
like organic versus digital.
I guess it depends on which genre you're talking to. Metalcore, touring guitarists, touring bands. The lighter the lighter your gear is, the better it is on your back. So it's like on your roadie's back too if you have people with you. But
True.
yeah, I don't want to lug around like a 50 to 70 pound head and like a 135 pound cab when I could just bring my little like 3-unit like 10-pound Kemper box and with me. Well, actually,
that thing's
full
pretty
disclosure.
heavy, let's be honest. Like,
Yeah. Well, I also have a 12-unit road case, which it's about equal to my amp, but I have every amp I need.
it's more compact.
But if we're
for
talking
sure.
heavy equipment,
Yeah,
you ever
it's
had to
very
lug one of those
compact.
bass fridges?
Yeah, the
I-
one Scott
I used to
had,
have
yeah.
one.
Yep.
Yeah, we sold it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of those, yeah.
yeah.
So I don't miss that either.
The
No.
tone fridge. I remember.
tone fridge.
I remember Nick Sandoval and I think Tyler or you lugging that amp up those basement stairs at that Shoot the Messenger show,
Yep.
and I'm like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. That thing
Man,
was so heavy.
yeah,
Super sick piece of gear. I got a really good
Oh,
deal on
yeah.
that. But
you made a
Are
profit
you guys
off
familiar with the concept of Chekhov's gun?
no.
No.
So it's a theater term that if there is a rifle, it's Chekhov's rifle. If there's a rifle on the wall in Act 1, in Act 2, the rifle has to go off, and someone has to get shot with the rifle. Those bass cabs have always been the Chekhov's gun of every show that I've been to. I see them and I'm like, something's gonna fucking happen with that. You're gonna fall and you're gonna kill someone or something. I
Someone
don't
breaks
trust
her
you.
back, pulls a muscle.
Yeah. So it always crushes a finger or something. You can't trust those bass cabs.
They're
Yeah,
heavy.
those are heavy. They're beautiful though.
They're
heavy.
so great.
Yeah.
They're so beautiful. But
I'm pretty sure that there's bass amps in Kempers and like fractal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I
For
think
sure.
I saw some in my my library,
Yeah.
my Kemper. But
Absolutely.
yeah, dude, it's sick. Which I also got a deal on. I bought off my buddy. He sold it to me for $1,700 with the remote. New, I think it goes for like $25. So
Good deal.
he's a homie, and he had a bunch of like Josh Northlane Kemper packs on there.
Oh, it came pre-installed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, he added to it.
Right.
Yeah. And what else was there? GGD, got good drums. Is that what it is? Nolly from Periphery, right?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah, he was a prog kind of guy.
Nice.
We love the proggies.
Yeah. So I think it's fair to say that in various ways, as a band, we're very like pro digital instruments.
Oh yeah, Dan's gonna hop on the Kemper game. You know, I have a slot in my case for him. You know, waiting for our show day.
Basically,
we
what we're
can keep it all
saying
in
is
one.
the end goal is all four of us on stage, just like miming instruments.
Yeah,
Just, like,
backtrack everything.
yeah, backtrack everything. We're just gonna be
Yeah.
the first metalcore boy band.
Oh my god.
You're gonna start using your Laces kit live.
Dude, I wanted to for the longest time, but like the more I've beaten the shit out of it, the more I just can't find like drum sounds that like would lend itself well to a live setting. The more I'm just kind of like pulling away from that.
Yeah.
But when I first got it, that was kind of like my low key intention. I was like, if I can get a way to transport this kit safely and efficiently, and get it set up in like a good enough time where I could play shows with this, like game
Nothing's
changer.
but nothing's better than acoustic drums. You know,
Nothing's
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't
just
hit as hard.
That's just one of those areas.
That's another discovery that I made as I was playing like the electric kit, and having been forced to be on the electric kit for so long. Now that I'm like living on my own in apartments and stuff, I can't be playing like practicing acoustic drums.
Why not?
The only time I what?
Oh,
Why
sorry.
not?
Oh no, I was gonna say something. Yeah, I was. You continue. I'll say what I'm gonna say after, because
got
that's how conversation works, I guess.
I got you. My bad. But I couldn't set up my electric kit, or sorry, my acoustic kit in my apartment.
Right.
So just like being on my electric kit for so long, it's like I really miss just being able to go like all out on an acoustic kit and like
Yeah.
hearing the dynamic changes of like a live instrument versus, you know, obviously just like an electric
Exactly.
thing. Sorry, my dog's biting my sleeve.
What I was gonna say is, live. I don't know if we have enough beats in our songs, but get a sample pad like those, you know, with the little boxes. That'd be sick.
I really wanted something like that, and even if we don't have enough, like we could always like add some like additional like just for the live people stuff, like sound effects,
We
you
have
know?
enough beats. Like think about it.
And like
right?
our
So,
current set.
like the
True, yeah.
anything we have electronic drums in all of our, I think most of our songs since the Dark Matter EP, right? And
I think
maybe
that's right,
maybe not most,
We're
but
just
a
gonna
lot,
continue to add
some-
them too.
in some capacity. You could probably even take like pads from your electric kit, Jensen, and just like
Yeah.
connect them to the computer and run a sample through them.
Yeah, if I could find a way to get that done, I would like. God, if we could justify it for me to have like a Neil Peart level like 360
Just
kit.
make you feel like you have a 12-piece kit. Like,
Just in the middle of our set. All right,
Yeah.
now we're gonna have Jensen's drum solo. Why is he playing the keyboard in the middle of his drum solo? It just seems off-brand.
Why is he finger drumming on the keyboard?
Finger-
He has a whole
Okay,
kit.
now he's just finger painting. There is no music going on right now at all. It's been 15 minutes of silence and Bob Ross imitation.
Oh my god.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little salty. You guys haven't brought this up yet about me, but I am such a good finger drummer on the keyboard. I am so solid.
That's true.
I'm
That's
solid.
true.
I could blast beat, dude. I could hold a beat. I'm in the pocket. I'm in the
You could
pocket when I'm on it.
You could hold a Dad Rock show down with your finger
Oh,
drumming
dude,
on a
yeah.
keyboard.
100%. I'll just be in the back rocking out on the keys, you know, with the drums up.
Everybody who
Yeah.
actually plays a keyboard but doesn't understand that there's like digital drums on a
Yeah.
keyboard is really confused. Like, where's this drummer and what is that keyboard playing? They're really
Yeah.
into it, but they're just so.
Where's the drummer?
Off, but on?
That fill was so sick, dude. I could do fills and shit. You know, I know where everything is on the keyboard for drums.
You should go on America's Got Talent as like a finger drummer,
I should.
but like walk out in like a tuxedo and like not explain yourself at all. Like walk out very regally and just like. This one's
Yes.
for you, Simon.
fucking Simon. Yeah, I should do that.
On that note, though, like, you know what? I think it would be cool at some point in time to like of course, there's a lot of figuring out that would have to go about this, but I think at some point in time, like when the timing is right and we have like the resources to do so, it would be cool to try and move as many of our electronic elements from a backtrack to a performance, so to say, right? Like to have
Yeah.
Yes.
like
Absolutely.
to have like a synth on stage that like one of us is playing, and for Jensen to have like a sample pad or something for like the beats and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like it would be cool. Where it
That
still
was that
sounds the
was
same, but there's like actually a human doing it. You know.
that was Rush's philosophy. Anything they put into a studio album, they had to be able to play live on stage. So their bassist would be play. The bassist was already their singer, but he would also be playing the keyboard, and he also had foot pedals on the keyboard that played different sounds that couldn't be done with just like the top keyboard
Wow.
half.
Mm.
So if we can get to that level, I'm down. I love
Hell yeah.
just as much organic sound as possible,
Absolutely.
That'd be
even
cool.
if the
But
organic is digital.
that's a future thing.
The future thing.
Yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
But yeah, so we can go back to our storytelling. So then we got as far as Tom left the band. We decided to keep things digital with the bass. Jake, you had mentioned that we got to the point where COVID hit and lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And we were in the middle of writing and recording an EP, the Dark Matter EP. And I think for a while we were like, what the fuck do we do now?
Yeah, right. We got
but-
creative though.
We did, yeah, no, we really focused on the instrumentals at that point in time. And we basically I'd say most of that EP was written and recorded completely remotely. Just by like, you know, you guys like writing different riffs and sending the files back and forth. And a lot of the vocals got written during lockdown, like lyrics and cadences and stuff. And Dan and I worked on ideas and stuff like that. But we did have to wait until lockdown was lifted before, like I went over to Dan's at that point in time and recorded vocals.
You did some with me, I think, at my place. I think it was for
Yeah,
the
I think so.
Tide. We did the Tide at my place. Yeah.
So yeah. So then that was an interesting experience. Of course, you know, the timing of everything was really, really unfortunate, but I think it definitely, you know, looking for a silver lining in a circumstance like that, it taught us a lot about how we can work as a band.
And how adaptive we were.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
just sort of told us how we didn't need to be in the same room to like still get shit done. You know, which ultimately, like, to be quite frank, was finding comfort in that was the thing that like told me that it was okay for me to move to Colorado.
Yeah.
You know, like I wouldn't have moved out of Chicago if I didn't feel as if like we were still able to we as if we weren't going to be able to still work and be productive, you know. And you know, that being said, I do still fly in for things like recording and music videos and stuff like that, but the writing process, you know, at least locally, because I'm so far away now, is completely remote. But yeah, so then that happened. We finished recording Dark Matter. We put that out August 2020.
July 31st, 2020.
So basically August.
Nah. July.
July. Okay, July.
No, I'm just kidding. It was that
And,
exact day.
Yeah, and then, like I said, come the following February, I moved. Well, actually, sorry, hang on. Yeah, that was 2020. Yeah, so then the following February, so February 2021, I moved from Chicago to Colorado. We were still sort of kind of, you know, COVID was still very much a thing. We were still very much in like a figuring out stage. So things did kind of slow down a little bit. But we kind of got back on track. We wrote Suffocate, recorded Suffocate at the end of that summer. And then I think it was October, I flew in and we filmed a music video
Yep.
for it. Yeah, and then that came out in December of 2021. And then that kind of starts to bring us to current day, 2022. We recorded Retrograde, shot a video for that earlier this year, put that song out, and
Played our first show back after 2.5 years in August.
That's true. Played our first show back, and yeah, here we are. I think we mentioned it on the last podcast, but we are working on new music currently, which the writing part is actually almost finished. I just have to finish out lyrics and cadences and stuff, and we'll be ready to record. So,
Hell yeah! You gonna fly in for that, or are you gonna record at your place?
I could do it here. To be totally honest, I'll probably just fly in.
Yeah.
I just think there's more benefit to it. Like, one, to be totally honest, like, there's part of me that's still a little bit uncomfortable screaming in my apartment because I have neighbors upstairs, downstairs, and on the side. And I know I wouldn't be super, super loud to them. Like, if I did it during the day, I'd probably still be quiet enough to the point where it wouldn't be bothersome. I'm just very aware of it, and it's
that's how I would be too.
Yeah, it's just not the best like headspace to be in.
I've been like, Felice has been teaching me how to sing and stuff, and that's been like my biggest barrier is that like I can't get to like any of my higher register because I'm like, well, I have to project, and our neighbors will hear us because like one of our neighbors walked by us the other night when her and I were like singing karaoke, and they were like, we heard you singing My Chemical Romance, and it's like, okay, you knew the band and you knew the song, you can hear us a lot better than we thought.
Funny. See, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if it was singing. I wouldn't. Yeah, that's what I do. I wouldn't mind if it was singing. But because I'm screaming, I'm like convinced like. Cause okay, like who the fuck has a neighbor who screams? Like
that's
people.
Really
My girlfriend's downstairs neighbor screamed a lot in her old place. Yeah, because she wasn't all there, but she would.
That's not what I mean, though. But like, but here's the point that
sounds like it.
But you actually make my point for me. So when I say like who has a neighbor who screams, I mean musically. Right, but my concern,
even if they do, it's like the guttural, like traditional, like metal, like screamo screams, not like what we have, which sounds a lot more like percussive and
that's
conversational
like,
almost.
People would think I'm in distress or that they need to call the police.
Right, in distress or abusing
Send
someone.
someone over for like a mental health check. Scott, you good?
I'm not trying to deal with that. So
totally.
so for one, I'd rather just avoid that situation. Two, even though all the writing takes place before I would fly in for recording, Dan and I do collaborate a lot, like in the moment in the studio. And although we could do like a remote recording session, I just like that in-person collaboration on those kind of finishing touches to the song that maybe we didn't think of until that moment. Plus, it's also I live on the other side of the country, so it's also just an excuse to like see all you dudes for a couple days and hang out, which is always great.
That'd be sick. Come through.
Yeah.
So
that's all you gotta say. You don't even really gotta explain the rest.
Yeah.
Like I don't even care if you can get like crystal clear recording. Like bring Daddy Scott back.
So the benefits just sort of outweigh it for me. Like, yeah, it's a plane ticket that I have to buy, and that can be pricey, but it's worth it, I think. So yeah, I don't know when that will be. I just got to finish writing first, and then schedule it with you dudes. But
yeah,
hopefully sooner rather than later.
That'd be cool. Could get a full band practice in too. that weekend
hell yeah.
if you can, vocally.
Absolutely.
You know, up to you.
Absolutely.
And just chill, hang out, get some same.
Love a green
Dude.
curry. It's same.
Dude, same bowl. Dude, I've been thinking about that.
Those sriracha fries. Oof.
Oh, dude. Man. Yeah.
If you're in Chicago, go to same on Roscoe Street, West Roscoe. It's a Thai restaurant.
It's very good.
You won't be disappointed.
That's fantastic.
So that's where we are today, and yeah, I think, the creative process, it can be slow at times. Just we all have busy personal lives, but we're still making progress, still making it happen, and we are also, as this contest, as this podcast, I think, is evidence of, we're also just putting a lot of time and effort into supplemental content too. Definitely trying to just have more of a presence on the internet, be more of a, beef up the brand aspect of our band, because as we mentioned earlier, we take this very seriously. We treat it like it's a job, even though it's not like a full-time income as of now, but that's the goal, so we just try to treat it as such.
I'm going to start
absolutely.
referring to band practice as brand practice.
Brand
Practice. Brand meeting.
Brand meeting.
Yeah.
And it still works in context, because 95% of the time when we're getting together, we're cooking in the kitchen.
Yeah, doing some cooking. Yeah, I agree with what you said, Scott. We have some cool stuff cooking up, and eventually we'd like to make this our full-time income. But that's not our main goal right now. Our main goal is to just have fun, be creative, be entertaining, and do what we love, and hang out with the boys, chat with the boys, and when it comes down to it, we're just a bunch of homies creating some cool stuff together and having a good time, having some good laughs. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's actually a good place to wrap it up. You summed it up nicely there, Jake.
That's a very wholesome wrap up. Yeah.
It's a very wholesome wrap up. We
Yeah.
took this episode just to give our bio of sorts, if you will. So yeah, I mean, for people who might be newer to finding us and diving into everything that Still World is, hopefully this was an enjoyable listen. Kind of gave you some insight and context as to what brought us to this point. And yeah, like we mentioned in the past, we're going to try to do these at least once a month, hopefully twice. The people that are on here will probably continue to rotate just based on when we can record and who's available. But yeah, keep checking them out. And before we started recording, Jake asked me to do one thing, and I just realized I totally forgot to do it. So
It's all good.
I'll do it now for anyone who actually made it almost 55 minutes into this podcast. We do have some sick new merch up on our website, some new t-shirts, long sleeve. We have a sick tote bag, as I mentioned before. Love that fucking tote bag.
Dude, so sick.
We have windbreakers, and all of our old stuff is still up there too. So if you have made it 55 minutes into a podcast, you're clearly somewhat interested in what we're doing. Head over to our website, stillworldband.com. Pick up some merch. It means a lot. It just helps us continue to do this and make it easier for us to continue to put out content like this. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
And before we leave, DM us merch, the word merch, MERCH, on Instagram. You'll get 10% off merch. So you could buy that fucking tote bag.
You know what? Actually, sorry. That's not working right now.
Oh, it's not?
For reasons I'll explain after we stop recording.
I'm so embarrassed.
It's,
Damn.
hey,
I
it's
thought
okay.
you're going to keep me in the loop.
I know.
I thought that was just a really elaborate joke at first because I didn't know that was the thing.
No, it's a real thing. Okay. Long story short, I used to work for an email marketing software. I had an account with that software for free because I worked there, but I just
Oh, I
left
see.
that job for a different job, so I no longer have the account. So,
Oh,
so
that's why.
yeah, so we were using
Okay.
email to deliver the discount code. We have not yet transitioned to a new software, which we'll have to do over the next couple weeks. So
Okay.
let's do this. So, okay. So DMing us the word merch will not automatically give you a code. But if you made it this far and you want 10% off, send us a message anyway, and we will create a code for you to buy merch, and you'll still get the discount.
Let's do it. That sounds good. It's manual,
There
but
we
that's
go.
okay. It's more intimate.
It's more personal. That's how
Than
you
a-
know it'll
than
get
a
done.
There you
There's
go.
accountability.
Personal
Yeah.
touch. Chef's
We're more
kiss.
personal.
We'll
Yummy.
and we'll get it automated again, and it'll be all good. So that's a tangent. But yeah, thanks so much everybody for listening. Keep an eye out for new content, new music down coming in the pipeline, and more podcasts. And
Sick.
we will catch you here again in a couple weeks.
A few weeks. Yeah, that sounds
Something
good.
like that.
Sounds fair.
We'll be here when we're here, and you'll join us maybe.
You will. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Be good people.